Yeah, some of the narratives around the Indiana Fever are just absolutely disgusting. And none more so than the 30 under, Miss 30 under 30 Nepo baby Jalen Rose's daughter. So, this is something that she said. And by the way, first of all, why are WNBA players being asked their political affiliations? It is irrelevant to the sport of basketball.
Politics and basketball. Two things that should never mix, especially when you're supposed to be covering a sport. But that's exactly what's happening in WNBA media right now. And the target? The Indiana Fever. More specifically, their star player. This isn't about game analysis or player performance. This is about media members using their platforms to attack players based on assumed political beliefs, and the league is not only allowing it, they're actively promoting the people doing it.
But let's take a listen to what
the WNBA, as if I needed to see this, it is very obvious. The 2.3% Republican are all members of the Indiana Fever.
Like, what, like, first of all, what relevance is that to basketball? None. Like, I don't care.
Let's talk about Mariah Rose, Jalen Rose's daughter. She posted a graphic claiming that 2.3% of WNBA players are Republican, and that all of them play for the Indiana Fever. Now, basic math tells you that 2.3% of the WNBA's roughly 44 players equals about 3 players, so she's claiming 3 specific Fever players are Republicans. But here's the real question. Why does this matter? Why is a sports media personality asking players about their political affiliations in the first place? What does this have to do with basketball?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't care less if they worship the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. If they put the ball in the basket and play defense and help the team wins games, that's all that should be relevant, especially when you are meant to be covering a sport. But that's the ironic thing when it comes to a lot of these WNBA media that the league promote. That's the worst part. They don't give a fuck about the sport.
The answer is nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. But watch what happens when you dig deeper into this. Because this isn't just a random post from some random person. Mariah Rose isn't just another voice on social media. She's been given access to WNBA draft night. She's walked the red carpet. She's been positioned by the league as legitimate media, and she's using that platform to imply something very specific about Caitlin Clark.
No, I have no issue with someone like Natasha Cloud saying she's an activist. I have an issue with Natasha Cloud reposting that Indiana is unsafe for Angel Reese. I have an issue with some of the other shit Natasha Cloud has said. I couldn't give a flying fuck about anyone's politics. At the end of the day, I'm Irish. I don't care about American politics. At the end of the day. I mean, what's going on right now is kind of fucking over everybody.
Think about the timing of this. We're in 2024. The only openly Republican player in the WNBA is Kelsey Plum. Everyone knows this. So when Rose says all the Republicans play for Indiana, she's not talking about Plum, who plays for Las Vegas. She's making an accusation without actually saying the names. She's implying that Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, the player who brought record ratings and sold out arenas, is MAGA. And she's using that term as an insult
here, that Caitlin Clark is MAGA. Like, we have got, like, legitimate media. We have got, and I mean, by legitimate media, I literally just mean Nepo babies. Like, it is, I don't even know what her name is. I just know she's Jalen Rose's daughter. Like, what is her name? Mariah Rose. Have the league actually done anything with her? Oh yeah, of course.
Here's what makes this particularly disgusting. Caitlin Clark has liked posts supporting Kamala Harris on Instagram. She's from Des Moines, Iowa, which leans left politically. There's zero evidence for what Rose is implying, but facts don't matter here. What matters is creating a narrative that the Fever's success, that Caitlin's success, is somehow problematic because of politics. And the WNBA is completely fine with this.
That phrase being used as an insult. At the end of the day, I couldn't care less. I'm not going to have an opinion on it because I live 7-8 hours away, and anyone who knows me in real life knows there's not much going on in my head other than basketball. Which is, you know what, and in a lot of situations, ignorance is fucking bliss because it's a shitty world out there no matter where you are, no matter what side of the fence you're on. But the league is actually pushing somebody is inviting someone red carpet for their draft who has basically now tried to.
Let's be clear about what's happening. You have league-approved media making baseless political accusations about players, not about their defense, not about their shot selection, not about their leadership, about their assumed voting habits. Imagine if an NBA reporter posted that all the Democrats play for the Lakers and used that as an insult. They'd be fired within hours. But in the WNBA, this behavior gets rewarded with draft night credentials and league promotion.
Even if you completely, first of all, the players being asked this is bullshit in the first place. Even if you disagree with somebody in politics completely, you are meant to be a sports media. You are meant to be sports media. You can dislike a person all you want, but when you're meant to be sports media, you're supposed to be covering the sport. And why is it that you never hear her talking about the sport unless it's about Caitlin Clark? You very rarely hear her talking about the sport, because that's what the league wants. That is, whoever is in charge of the league, that is what they want. That is what they want. They don't want somebody talking about the sport. I can guarantee you Mariah Rose is not going to talk about deep.
And this is part of a larger pattern. If you praise Caitlin Clark's actual basketball abilities, if you say she's better than Paige Bueckers based on her college performance, you're labeled problematic by the league. If you analyze Chelsea Gray's 2024 season honestly, pointing out that she couldn't run at full speed and was the fourth best player on her championship team, you're attacked. But if you make up political conspiracies about Indiana Fever players, you get a platform. The message is clear. The league wants media members who will tear down certain players, not analyze the actual game.
100% Indiana Fever 2024 players. Who are you attacking? Is this a sneak diss of Grace Berger or something? Is Damiris Dantas? Do we not know exactly? Damiris Dantas, I don't think she can vote, but I don't know. Who's this meant to be a shot at? Because there's one Indiana Fever player who you better believe this is supposed to be an insult towards, who is publicly on the other side. And at the end of the day, that is irrelevant. That is absolutely irrelevant to the sport of basketball. But
here's the irony that nobody wants to talk about. The same people who claim to want politics out of sports are the ones injecting politics into every WNBA conversation. They'll criticize players like Kelsey Plum for their political views while simultaneously demanding that sports and politics stay separate. The hypocrisy is staggering. Either politics matter in sports or they don't. You can't have it both ways. And if we're being honest, most fans don't care what their favorite players believe politically. They care if those players can knock down threes and play defense.
But at the end of the day, she has not played point guard for extended periods of time in any success. The main success the Aces got was when they moved her off the point. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if you don't glaze the people with nicknames, if you actually watch the game and break down the game, you are problematic. All the league wants is for players to be, well, not even for players, for the media to just make fun of Caitlin Clark.
Now let's talk about what this reveals about the WNBA's priorities. The league just posted about Caitlin Clark's birthday. They're finally acknowledging her value after a season where she brought unprecedented attention to the sport. But behind the scenes, they're platforming media members who attack her. They're giving credentials and access to people who don't actually cover basketball. They're creating an environment where analysis is less important than narrative control. And that narrative is simple. If you're popular with the wrong fans, you're a problem.
The WNBA for posting about Caitlin Clark's birthday, but things like this, it just sums it up, because this is absolutely the implication. Nothing was said. Nothing was said, obviously, but this was absolutely the implication. Because if she said, we know one of them plays for the Indiana Fever, duh, everybody knows it's Sophie Cunningham, but 2.3% is 3 players. They all play for the Fever. I mean, who else are you talking about? Who else are you implying? You implying Kelsey Mitchell's MAGA? Implying Aaliyah Boston? I doubt it. I really, really doubt it.
This is what makes the Mariah Rose situation so revealing. She's not talking about the biggest comeback in basketball history that just happened. She's not breaking down game film. She's not analyzing draft prospects or roster construction. She's making political accusations about players based on zero evidence. And the league sees this as valuable content. They see this as the kind of media coverage they want to promote. That tells you everything about where the WNBA's priorities actually are. It's not about growing the game. It's about controlling the narrative around who deserves success and who doesn't. The league has made a choice. They've decided that Caitlin Clark, despite bringing record ratings and selling out arenas, despite being the biggest draw in women's basketball history, is someone whose success needs to be qualified, undermined, explained away, and they're using politics as the weapon to do it. Think about the absurdity of this. A player who has done nothing but elevate the sport, who has brought millions of new eyes to the WNBA, who has been professional in every interview and interaction, is being attacked by league-approved media for her assumed political beliefs, not her actual statements, not her actions. Her assumed beliefs based on absolutely nothing. And here's what nobody wants to acknowledge. This strategy is backfiring spectacularly. The WNBA had its biggest season ever in 2024, primarily because of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Attendance records were shattered, TV ratings hit all-time highs, merchandise sales exploded, and the league's response has been to platform media members who attack the players responsible for this growth. You can see it in how they treat different players. If you're Chelsea Gray, you get called the best player in the world, even when you can't run at full speed, and you're the fourth option in the finals. If you're Caitlin Clark, you get media members speculating about your politics and using it to discredit your success. The double standard isn't subtle, and it extends beyond just player coverage. Look at how the league treats its media. If you're a Nippo baby with famous parents, you get draft night access and league promotion. If you're an independent analyst who actually breaks down film and provides substantive basketball coverage, you're ignored or labeled problematic. The league doesn't want basketball analysis. They want narrative control. Mariah Rose has never broken down a game. She's never provided tactical analysis of defensive schemes or offensive sets. She's never done the actual work of sports journalism. But she has a famous father, and she's willing to attack the right targets. So she gets credentials and platform. That's the WNBA's media strategy in a nutshell. And the Indiana Fever players are the primary targets. Not because they've done anything wrong, not because they're bad teammates or poor representatives of the league, but because they're popular with fans the league doesn't want. Because their success doesn't fit the narrative the WNBA wants to tell about itself. This is organizational malpractice at the highest level. You have the biggest star your league has ever seen, someone who has single-handedly changed the conversation around women's basketball, and your response is to allow media members to attack her based on made-up political accusations. It's insane. And it's not just Caitlin, it's the entire Fever roster. Rose's post implies that multiple Fever players are Republicans, using that as an insult. She's not naming names because she can't. She has no evidence. But the implication is clear, and the damage is done. These players now have to deal with speculation about their politics instead of being judged on their basketball abilities. The league could shut this down immediately. They could make it clear that political speculation about players is unacceptable. They could stop giving credentials to people who don't actually cover the sport. They could prioritize basketball analysis over narrative warfare, but they won't, because this is exactly what they want. So here's where we are. The WNBA had the best season in its history, driven primarily by Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. And the league's response has been to platform media members who attack those players based on assumed political belief. They're actively undermining their own success because they can't accept who's responsible for it. The question now is whether this continues. Will the league keep promoting people like Mariah Rose, who don't actually cover basketball? Will they keep allowing baseless political attacks on their star players? Or will they finally recognize that growth matters more than narrative control? Based on everything we've seen, don't expect things to change. The WNBA has made its choice. They'd rather have ideological purity than popularity. They'd rather control the narrative than grow the audience. And players like Caitlin Clark will continue to be attacked by league-approved media for the crime of being successful with the wrong fan base. It's pathetic, it's counterproductive, and it's exactly what the league wants. So what do you think? Should political affiliation have any place in sports coverage? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And let me know if you think the WNBA will ever actually prioritize basketball over politics.